Welcome to the Game Changers Collective podcast. I'm your host, Cassie Manner, and today I'm joined by Pia Larson, the founder and creative force behind Fingerprint Marketing, an award-winning branding and web design agency. Pia has built a reputation for helping businesses stand out in crowded markets by crafting unforgettable brand identities and digital experiences that leave a lasting impression. With over 2 decades of expertise in market, design, and entrepreneurship, she's passionate about showing business owners how to transform their brand from forgettable to unforgettable. In this conversation, we'll dive into Pia's journey, her approach to creating brands with personality and impact, and the game-changing strategies she uses to help businesses attract, connect, and grow. Let's get into the episode. I am so excited to have you here today. Welcome to the Game Changers Collective. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for inviting me.
Of course. Yeah, you are a seasoned expert in your field. So I had to have you on to talk about all things marketing, web design, branding, all the things. So, I think the most exciting thing to get into first is, of course, your business name, Fingerprint Marketing. It's such a unique name. How did you come up with that? And what does it represent in the way you approach branding?
It's a really cute story, actually. I started the business 20 years ago when I had little tiny kids, littles, and we had this fridge that showed all the thumbprints, the fingerprints, and they would always deny leaving their fingerprints. Like, I know which one's yours because they're unique, and they would just try to get away with it. So I thought, oh, yeah, our fingerprints are unique. And it was the same time I was starting my business. And one of the big problems that I was helping people solve is being held hostage by their webmaster, not knowing where their project was. I really wanted to give them power over it, but I wanted them to be unique. I wanted them, because my background, I've had 4 or 5 different businesses. I come from a family of entrepreneurs. So it's like, what is the best asset you can have? And that's standing out. So unique fingerprint. So that's kind of the backstory.
I never knew that. That's amazing. And so I know I heard you say, feeling like you're held hostage by your webmaster or, not knowing where your project is at. How do you kind of do things differently?
Yeah. So I just put myself in the position of my clients. I just, what are the things that really bug me? And I hate managing, you know, people's projects that they should be managing themselves, right? So having to, how's this going? Did you get my email? Did you get my text? Like, I want you to come to me and say, hey, we need a little bit more time, or this is what's going on, like proactive. And also being held hostage, you're a small business owner, just like me. And it's like you're wearing all these hats. And so you don't want to have to manage other people's problems, right? And also you want to be able to do things on your own, like jump on your website and make small changes. You don't want to have to wait for someone maybe overseas, or maybe it's, not the right time zone for them to make changes, because business, we don't sleep, right? I mean, it's, if you need to update a website, you got to do it now. So that's part of the process. We also have a help desk that's amazing. They're in the United States, and they come to our clients with ideas, issues that might be coming up, instead of waiting for them to come to us and say, hey, my site's slow, or whatever that is. So just being more proactive and really just being a business owner and figuring out what bothers me and what my problems would be and helping them solve it.
Yeah. So, you've worked with, ballpark, how many business owners do you think over the last how many years?
Oh my gosh. Probably thousands, because
Thousands.
we work with small, medium-sized businesses, and our services really do range from, web maintenance to the larger custom website designs and campaigns. But I love it because it allows me to learn about different industries. I love knowing how founders started the business. What were they doing before that? What makes them excited about their business?
Yeah, I think in the digital marketing world, to have someone with that much experience is so rare because digital marketing is like a kind of a newer industry. And so a lot of the people working in it, are younger, more on like my age. And so to have someone like yourself who's been there from the very start, I think is so invaluable for business owners to get to work with. And you just have such a special offering because you've seen so much. So, you've worked with thousands of business owners over the past 20 something years. In your experience, what are the most common mistakes that you see business owners make when it comes to, branding or digital presence?
Thanks for the compliment. first of all. I think what helps is not just that I've seen it all, but I'm really good at sniffing out the BS. Lots of times my prospects and my current clients will come to me and say, "Hey, this person's pitching this or this latest, shiny tool." And because I know that marketing has the same foundation that it's always had, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, we do business with people we know, like, and trust. You follow up. Like, there's different tenets that will never change. It's just a different tool and different platform or different messaging, but it's all, the tenets of marketing haven't changed. So when I see the shiny thing or, something that's really expensive that's not necessary for someone's business, I can easily just say, "Hey, we can find a better solution that's less expensive," or "You don't even need it." Like, that's one of the mistakes too. It's like, and I do this myself. It's like, "Oh, I feel like I'm missing out on something. Do I need this tool, this AI, agent, or am I going to fall behind?" You get overwhelmed. So it's super important for me as a person and a business owner to hold my client's hand and be their advisors. A lot of our clients say, "What would Pia do? What would Fingerprint do?" And they just come to us and say, "Hey, I'm thinking about this." And we were just there to advise them based on all the experience and everything that we've seen. It's a little different now because things are kind of like drinking out of a fire hose with AI, right? So me personally, I spend like 2 to 3 hours a day studying new trends and what's important to businesses so I can weed through everything. And it has sped up a little bit. There are mistakes that clients I see making are they just get sucked into the sales, and they're really impressed with, like, whoever's doing the sales, but they don't look at case studies, or they don't interview other agencies. I love it when someone comes to me and say, "Oh, we want to work with you." I'm like, "Well, have you talked to other people?" I want to make sure they've done their due diligence. It makes it easier for us too, because then they're more educated on what they really want. They can kind of know, familiar with the marketing terms and everything. And I don't want them to second guess anything once we start working together. So yeah, you might have a great website, you might have fancy social media. What is your experience? How many years have you been in business? What is the proof? Do you have great testimonials on Google? We work internationally, but we started in Seattle, and so we've got like 75 reviews in that area, and then we're building businesses here in Sarasota, Florida as well. Just doing your due diligence and not just feeling like you have to hire the first person. Mistakes are letting your brand go stale or letting your online presence get stale. And I get it. I've been a business owner for many, many years, even more than 20 years, and you get overwhelmed. You've got all this stuff to do, but actually scheduling it maybe quarterly, depending on your industry, how fast it moves and how fast your business moves, looking at it quarterly, maybe every 6 months, every year, looking at your website, what has changed? Should the messaging change? Have we added a new service? Have we changed our business model? Do we have a new audience to add? Keeping fresh. It'll also help you get found online and get ranked, especially in AI results, because you're keeping your content fresh all the time. You don't necessarily have to change your business, but just keeping fresh content, fresh photos, testimonials across all the platforms. So yeah, those are just a few, but I mean, I could talk for hours on things that we've seen, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, I think why you're so excellent at really enmeshing with your client's business and having their best interests in mind is because you mentioned you grew up as a family of entrepreneurs. And that was the same for myself. And so I always kind of thought of things from the business owner standpoint. And I think people who maybe didn't have that kind of experience where they, were lucky enough to have, family who was entrepreneurs, parents who are entrepreneurs, it's a little harder to get into that mindset
Yeah,
when they're thinking about the business owner, they're kind of more thinking about themselves rather than thinking about what would I want this to happen to my dad or my mom or my grandma? Like, how would I want them to be treated as a business owner? And I think that's something that, you and I do really well because we were lucky enough to have that experience.
absolutely. We're definite different breed. Um, really different breed. And I'm not saying we're better. I'm just saying we're different. And we really have a knack for putting ourselves in other people's shoes. And tell my clients that all the time. I say, if it was my business, here's what I would do, and just speak honestly about it. So yeah, it's a great
Yeah, so I mean, you've run Fingerprint for years. What's been your biggest lesson as an entrepreneur?
boy. Some little lessons. My team is one of my most valuable assets, whether it's partners that I work with or employees or vendors. Those are your bread and butter, right? Those are the people that you're building your business on their shoulders. And so recognizing them for just being loyal and consistent. Most of our team members and partners we've been with for many, many years, and they get to know you intimately. They, and they're in the of you as the founder. So customer service, it comes out in customer service, it comes out in their creativity. So really nurturing that. And I do know other agencies that have a huge problem with attrition because they're like, who can I get that's the least expensive, right? Or, how can we push these timelines, really not stopping to acknowledge people. So that I didn't actually make that mistake, but I see that mistake with other agencies. So me personally, I tried the big agency model where I had an office and I had, employees and, I'm like, I want to make, so much money. And I realized, I think it was a conversation with my CPA. He's like, well, why do you want to make that amount of money? Like, you're just going to pay more taxes, right? And you're going to be working harder. And I'm like, he's right. So, just saying, is this going to bring me joy if I'm doubling my business or whatever? I keep it as a boutique agency and make it personal because I love working with people. I love working with small businesses. So that was a big lesson. I did find out that I don't really like managing people day to day. So I pick creatives and vendors and partners who are self-sufficient, self-led, and they can manage their project on their own. I also don't have account managers because I feel like, again, I'm putting myself in their shoes. I hate when you have an account manager and they learn about your business and then they leave. And now you've got to educate someone completely on your business and you don't feel like you're really important, right? So I actually, when we do a project, I bring on whoever is actually doing the designing or doing the building or the development or the social, whatever it is, the SEO. I bring them on to the client calls because it's, we all are we're humans, right? So we want to work with people that we vibe with. So not everyone's going to vibe together. So it might not be a good working relationship. And also you get a more, I think the expectations on the client's end are more aligned because they're talking directly. There's no middleman. There's no room for expectations. So that was a big lesson very early on.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's invaluable having, clients be able to work directly with the people they're going to be working with right away and not some like 10,000 foot high person who's kind of trying to manage it all, but not actually, having that human to human connection because like you said, people want to work with, people. And I think that's so important with marketing in general, right? Everyone's always like, oh, are you B2B or you B2C? Like everyone's H to H, everyone's human to human. And it
Yep.
sounds like
Age to age.
you've yeah, it sounds like you've really, kind of mastered that throughout your years, so congratulations on that.
And because I'm like a boutique agency, a lot of my clients are friends, which I love. It's like an added bonus. So I know where they go on vacation. I kind of know about their families. I know about what their dreams are for their businesses, and it's great for referrals. So it's a
Right.
win-win.
Yeah, I think there's some statistic that, like, referrals are, like, 4 times more likely to actually become a client and then to stay long term and refer you clients as well because they were a referral, if your services are good, of course.
Yeah, of
But
course.
that sounds like that's in the bag for you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, things are in a great spot. Right now you've built a successful agency, you have a great team of partners. What's one challenge that you faced building your business that changed the way that you work today?
Yeah. So I'll share with you when I moved from Seattle. I'm kind of bi-coastal, so I live Seattle and Sarasota. So, but working in Seattle, if you're an agency specifically, you better bring your game. You better be really good at what you do, or else you're going to be closing up shop pretty soon, right? So the expectations are really high. Florida is not so much like that. Florida, I love Florida, but there's so many fly by night agencies and really good salespeople, but very bad on deliverables. And it's almost like everyone is a commodity. So how can I do it the cheapest? It seems like budget is the first and foremost like importance. Obviously budget's important, but what about experience? What about measuring? Like just when I first started living here like 3 years ago, I would meet with people and their mouths would drop open like, you actually have data, like KPIs, like you have reports that show that what you're doing is actually working. I'm like, yeah, how else are you going to know that your money is being well spent? I mean, it was literally like that, like seriously, like, oh, well, we've just been paying $500 to this agency and they tell us that they're working for us. And this is like, 5 years in. And I'm like, okay, this is seriously broken.
Yes.
So
I mean, I think with like just like that real quick, that low price point that you just mentioned, people saying, oh, I've been paying $500 a month and I've been with this agency for 5 years. A business owner told me one time, he said, cheap isn't always cheap because actually you're getting, no value out of it, or you got to pay to have it over again, or that money is just
yeah.
kind of lost. And yeah, those lower price points, when people are paying that and they don't know what's going on in their business, and then they're sticker shocked by, someone who actually brings results. I think that, yeah, that's so key to mention.
Yeah, it's very key. And I think with my experience and with someone that's been in the marketing industry for so long, it's easy to see that these lower prices it's not going to get you results. So whenever I meet with a new prospect, I actually don't go in it to sell, even though I think I'm very good at selling. I think everybody these days has to be good at selling themselves, right? But I just go in with, let me educate you, because it's kind of fun for me. It's like, I call myself the website whisperer, where, if you've ever had a designer come to your house and they walk in there like, oh yeah, that's got to go. That's got to be over here. We're going to do that. Like they just automatically can see the vision, right? And they can see where the improvements can be. So that's fun for me. And if my prospects can walk away better educated, or even if they don't hire me, but they can do like some tweaks to their marketing, that's great. But they're going to remember us, right? And they're going to come back when either they've grown or they have more budget or whatever. So that's kind of what I learned to do in Florida. And throughout my business, wherever I'm working, it's like, just serving first, and then, the referrals come after that.
Yes, 100%. I feel the same exact way. I've never had it put quite so eloquently, but that really like hits the nail on the head for me. I'm like, okay, yeah, like, I mean, we're both manifestors, right? So I think
Yeah.
that that's kind of just like how it works. But yeah, so you mentioned budget, social media, website ads. There's so many, different services, and it can be overwhelming for small business owners, especially if they're trying to dip their toes into digital marketing for the first time. So if they could only focus on one area, if they had a limited budget, where should they start? Or is it dependent, of course, on the business?
It's always dependent. I'll say if you're a local business, so you're not trying to market regionally or national or even internationally, you're just a local business, the best place to start is your Google business profile. It's your map listing. It's your, some people don't realize, but voice search is based on your map listing. So really optimizing your profile, really adding content to it on a weekly basis, working on your reviews, getting your reviews up is number one. It's hard work, I will admit, and some people just throw their hands up. But once you get into a rhythm of asking for testimonials and reviews and make it consistent, I actually schedule it on my calendar once a week to reach out and request reviews and so forth. That's one for local businesses. Doing video like we're doing now, creating shorts. It could be, I could come up with a million ideas, as I'm sure you can, of how to talk about your business, how to talk about your services and your products. You don't even have to be the face. You could just do a screencast or show a product or have a client do a testimonial. But because Google owns YouTube, video is going to help you with your marketing. And it also, 90% of decisions are made based on emotion. So when someone hears you, sees you, it's more of an emotional connection. They're more apt to buy. And what else can I suggest? In this day and age with AI content and everything being automated, where you can be human is going to be important. So I know it's tempting to go to ChatGPT and have ChatGPT or Gemini write, an article for you, which is great. It's great for outlining your thoughts, but really adding anecdotes, data, video, just making it more human, it's going to help. And then again, when I meet with prospects, really does depend on how competitive is your industry. So, it for some people it's too expensive to run ads, so let's work on your Google Business Profile, or let's do some guerrilla marketing with videos or even networking, right? And then what's your audience? Is your audience, where are they hanging out? Are they on social media? I just spoke with a prospect who has a law firm here, and no one's on social. They might be, but they're like, they're retired. They're looking for wills and trusts, and they're high net worth. So really, where are they? They're probably more likely to resonate with Google ads than on social media. And then where are my prospects referral partners, which are real estate agents and lenders? Well, they're on LinkedIn. So, going on LinkedIn. So it is based on a few factors, but I would say Google Business Profile, video, and writing as a human are just some of the key things that you can do right away.
Amazing. And so we keep coming back to this aspect of, human identity, their fingerprint. And so when you first start working with a client, how do you identify their, brand fingerprint and the things that makes them truly unique? Because I think a lot of business owners, they don't know, right? They're like, oh, they're like, who am I, right? To have like
Yeah.
this big brand identity. It's just something they started doing, and it gained traction. So how do you kind of help them to find that confidence and to kind of make their own fingerprint in the world, so to speak?
Yeah, that's a good point. Many people are like, well, I'm not that special, or they get imposter syndrome, or they're like, well, how do I stand it? They just don't know. It's just a matter of asking questions. What are some stories of success stories? Why did you get into this? What is it that lights you up about this business? What are the problems that you started out solving and maybe now you solve different problems? What do you see in the industry that is being done wrong? That you think that people are being blindsided by, or they don't realize, or here's a perfect example. I met with an inspector that worked for a pretty large inspection company in Florida, and he said, what people don't realize is they hire the cheap inspector to come out and inspect something. Let's say they're selling a house or something, and then the seller will fix the item that was called out in the inspection. Well, they don't realize that they have to have another inspection to sign off on that, and they get charged for it. He goes, we don't do that. I'm like, that's huge, right? It's like, so if someone's saying, hey, it's $300, oh, that's really great, but they're not being told that this is the process of getting an inspection signed off. So you have to educate them. Here's the process. We call out the thing that's broken, you fix it, and then you have to have it signed off on again. You're going to end up paying more money. This is it. This is all you pay. So, and that might be just one aspect of his business. There might be other aspects that he hasn't explored, and he just thought that was like not really a big deal, because they've been doing it for so long that way. And I said, I've been a victim of that, where they come back and I'm like, wait, I have to pay again? Like, this doesn't make sense to me. So just kind of reminding them of what makes them special, when you can dig deep and find those kernels, and really asking them. My clients love this activity because it refreshes their idea of their business. A lot of times we just get beaten down because we're under stress and we're doing so much, and we just forget how special our business is or can be. Some people think that they're so far away from success that they might as well just give up or just keep going on that hamster wheel. And I can show them, here's your competition. You're like right there. Like, you could leave them in the dust so easy. Let's do it. And it helps them renew their excitement for business.
Yes, 100%. I mean, I think, working with clients, you're really like their kind of coach in a way, not just with marketing, just with confidence, and you're kind of
Yeah.
life coaching them and having that personal relationship. And that's invaluable for business owners to have that, one-on-one connection. And I think that's why you built such a valuable and, close knit group of, people around you.
That's another great point you just mentioned is doing coaching. Because I've owned other businesses and I grew up in an entrepreneurial family. I know a lot about running a business. And when you think about some of the smaller companies, how did they get into business? Accidentally, right? They
Yes,
just started doing something and they were really good at what they did. And then they're, oh, this is a business. And then, there's so many facets to the business that, they might not be very good at. And I just like to point out, on a holistic way where they can improve their business, like customer service or hiring. One thing that we mention to people is go ahead and if you are hiring, put it in like on a banner on your website because it makes you look like you're growing and you're expanding and then go another step and put a really amazing hiring page on your website that shows happy employees and their stories and why should I work for you? Hiring someone is also marketing your business. How are you going to attract the quality people that work for your business? So when I see those opportunities, I share them with the client and they get the feel that he is really taking care of their business and not just there to sell them a website or social media.
totally. And I mean, I think there's so many services right now that, like you said earlier, like they're getting kind of overhyped. They're the new shiny thing. What would you say is kind of overrated right now? People don't need to pay as much mind to it as, maybe media is telling them in terms of marketing, any kind of marketing.
Yeah. So SEO is changing because SEO is search engine optimization and it's organic, meaning that you're not paying for ads. You're getting, you're creating content regularly. You're getting directory listings to come back, links to your website and everything. But I've seen where these companies that are selling SEO are saying, oh, we will do, I just had a phone call today. We'll do event SEO. And I said, well, what does that look like? And the prospect couldn't tell me. They said, oh, well, it's really good for SEO when there's a hotel. And, when we have an event, they do SEO, like the do SEO. Well, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Right. And so the other agency was touting it as if it was this special program or package. Come to find out what it really was is so you have a blog, right? On your website, they just created a special category for events. And so anytime the client had an event, they would just post it on the website under that tag event. It's a blog. It's like nothing special.
Goodness.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're just spinning these things. And then also AI, AI is sexy, exciting, it's new. There's a lot of potential in it. In fact, we're rolling out AI agents for our clients where we'll come into your business, we'll look at some of the bottlenecks, some of the ways that you can save time for your admin. Some of the ways you can improve customer service with voice answering 24/7. But those are one and done, right? They're, built them for you. We can add them to your website, but we're not going to overwhelm you. I've seen people like sign up for like 4 or 5 different agent AI and their whole website is not human at all. It's gone overboard. And of course that'll change in the future. Just being a, educated consumer these days is a full-time job,
Yes,
especially
100%.
as a
And
business owner.
yeah, I mean, with the like event SEO, thing. It's just, I think that is honestly like why marketing agencies get a bad rep sometimes because there are those marketing agencies that are just like jackals. They're just trying to like tell people things that they don't know what they're talking about and they want to charge them all this money for it and they don't explain it and the business owner doesn't know, right? They're not an expert in digital
Yeah.
marketing. They don't keep up on all of these things. So what would you say are like maybe like some red flags for business owners to when they're interviewing different agencies? You've worked with so many different agencies, you've heard what other agencies pitch to their clients. Where's the things that business
Boy,
owners should be
tons of red
wary of?
flags. If it's too cheap to sound good, you're not going to get results. $200 a month for an SEO expert to get you leads to your website, it's not going to work. And I tell prospects all this time, I said, we're not the cheapest, but we're kind of in the middle. Here's what you can expect for this amount of money. So just And you don't, and prospects don't know all the time. They're like, I don't know what my budget should be. Right. So it's just, again, a matter of getting educated. So that's why it's really important to compare, different agencies. Another red flag, I hate to say this for my solopreneurs, because I started as a solopreneur, but really working a solopreneur, because it's really tough for a solopreneur marketing person to really know design, really know development, really know social media and SEO. And, they're wearing way too many hats. So they're a master of none. Right. So that's why working with a smaller agency, I think, is powerful, because not only do you have the mastermind, of a whole team, but you have specialists that's all they do. Right. So that's another red flag. Another red flag is they don't answer their phone. They don't call you back. They don't do things in a timely manner. Like, I'm going to call you or send this tomorrow by end of day, and they don't do it. And you have to start chasing them. Or they don't follow up. They don't ask questions. They just say, oh, here's our packages. They don't customize anything for your business. There's a ton of red flags, unfortunately. That's, again, why you need to call a few people when you're looking for a project.
Yeah, I think that's so key with what you said about the solopreneur, or like, a freelancer. People are like, "Oh, our social media girl or our ads guy," right? They have like one person that does these things for them, but it's a big risk because you're putting all of your eggs in that one basket. If that person has something
Yeah.
personal come up, or they decide they want to take a new job or whatever.
Yep.
I've had clients say they ghost them, or they
Yep.
just stop doing the work, or they realize nothing's been done in months. And when you work with an agency, like yourself, you have someone like you who is making sure that everything is getting done. It's getting done well. They have, several different experts working on everything together. It's so much less risk than putting all your eggs into one person's basket and, hoping that they
Yeah. And
execute
let's say you're
correctly.
running ads and you have social media. Your job should not be project manager, right? You should not have to manage two different people. They should be on pretty much the same team and working together, because then you also risk brand confusion. So, someone's doing your social media and they have one messaging, and then there's your ads person with different messaging. So it confuses your audience. So that's why it's really important to have you know, a coherent team doing your marketing.
Yeah. So, I mean, being an A to Z marketing agency and sort of a one stop shop for business owners, they know that all areas are going to be executed well. Everything's under one roof. Everyone is working together. It's like a symbiotic unit. What would you say, like, when business owners have several different people working on different services, and then they come everything with you, bring it all under Fingerprint, and then you're handling everything? What are some of the things they say to you, success stories, experiences that they have from making that switch?
They save a ton of time. Because they're not chasing different people. And, we have maybe one meeting a week where we go over everything. There's communication is way better. They're also saving money. They're finding out that they're not having to push things back. A lot of times when you work with a freelancer, it's like, nope, that's not what I had in mind. Nope, that's not what I had in mind. They just don't have the experience or the level of specialty, so you're constantly having to wait for iterations. Saving money, saving time. They don't get the whole picture of your business and your brand, and it's very incoherent. So, I mean, one of my biggest clients that I worked with for 15 years was a restaurant family, and they had I think we managed 8 different locations in 3 different states. Imagine someone having that account and just doing the social media, but not having any interest in the SEO or the website. Like, you have different audiences in different states, and then you have in the regional parts of the state, you have different audiences. So not only is the brand broken up, the brand messaging, and it's confusing, but now you have to deal with different audiences. So no one knows what they're doing. It's like, well, are you talking to the right audience, the right time? It's just very confusing. So we did everything for them. We did everything from bus ads to PR to social media, website maintenance, grand openings, and everything. So they were very happy with us until they got to the size where they wanted to bring it in house, which is an option for people to bring it in house. It just gets a little costly. It just depends on what, your business and what direction you want to go.
Amazing. And so, you keep your finger on the marketing pulse and the brand pulse. So, what's one brand that you really admire that you think nails their identity and their branding and their messaging, and why?
Wow. I always love Starbucks because they have beautiful graphics and they're kind of cheeky in their marketing. Um that's a really good question.
I know because there's so many, and you just like
There's so
constantly
many.
see different brands. Yeah.
Yeah, the potpourri. I don't know if you've seen the potpourri
Yes.
ads where it's like the spray for when you go to the bathroom are brilliant. I studied advertising in college, so I love good advertising. I've seen a couple of email campaigns that are right on the mark where, they're just so here's what I'll say. I don't have an actual brand right now that's coming into my head, but I think humor in your
Yes.
marketing is really important. And if you can do it well, it's brilliant. Like you will spend less money, you will have more loyalty. Statistics show that when you can make your audience laugh or chuckle or even like smile, they're going to remember you way more than something just dry. And even if you're in insurance, even if you're in financial services, you can have fun with it and be cheeky and yet professional. So for me personally, when I see a clever, tongue in cheek kind of ad or campaign, I will immediately follow them, whether I need the service or product or not, because it's just,
Yeah, people wanna have fun. Nobody wants to be like, "This business is very serious all day long,"
yeah,
right? We're
yeah,
humans, we wanna laugh, we wanna have fun, so I totally agree with
yeah,
you on that.
yeah.
So if your younger self could see you now running an award-winning agency, what would she say?
That's another great question. I think she would be excited about working with so many different companies and like learning because I've always been a lifelong learner and fascinated by what people do to make money or to serve the community. I mean, even when I was younger, the age of 10, I was an entrepreneur, selling lemons off the lemon tree, and my brother and I would put together a puppet show, and the younger Pia would be like, okay, we're gonna do a bill full. We're gonna do like what do you call the theater? You get a bill full, or no? You get like a program. We're gonna charge for
Okay.
the program, and then we're gonna charge for popcorn, and then the people in the front seat. That's the premium seating. So we're going to charge for that. So I think she would give a hand clap to fingerprint marketing and where we are today because we're always looking for opportunity.
Yeah, that is so funny that you mentioned that. It just like I just had all these flood of memories from my childhood that I've never talked about online, but I used to do the same thing. I think there's something in
Did
that the
you?
entrepreneurial bloodline. Yeah, like I had like a nail salon in my
Yeah.
closet, and if we had friends or family over, I'd be like, "Come on in, it's $5. I'll do your nails, I'll give you a pedicure."
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
my friend and I would play this game where we would like run around the house and pick up different stuff, and then we would like set up stores, and we would like go to each other's stores and buy stuff.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
funny, and I loved Monopoly. Like, I had every
Yep.
single Monopoly that there was, and yeah, it's just so funny. I think it's in that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Have you heard of that book?
Yep. Yep.
And he says how he
Classic.
literally learned, yeah, the principles of capitalism and entrepreneurship through playing Monopoly, and it was one of my favorite games. So, yeah, that's so funny. We're definitely cut from the same cloth.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because we see opportunity everywhere, right? And that's, I think, why our clients resonate with us because we're big dreamers. And sometimes you just need to talk to a business owner and say, okay, you can do a million things. You can spend a bunch of money, but what do you think is going to light up your audience? What do you think they're ready for next? And just dream and be creative. And I think that's pulling from a playful, childlike imagination. Because we're all so serious in business.
Yes, 100%. And marketing is where you kind of get to be fun and scratch that creative itch while also, doing the most important thing, which is growing the business.
Yeah.
100%. So, I ask our guests here, what is your piece of game changing advice that you would offer to it can be entrepreneurship, it can be, business owners, just a piece of game changing advice that really changed the game for you when you had that realization or heard it, you were like, "Oh, that's it."
So people are you meet people for a reason. People come across your path for a reason. And I think some people tend to dismiss people that come into their lives because they don't live the same life or have the same beliefs or are on the same path. So just having an open heart to like, huh, interesting and really getting to know someone, whether they're going to be a friend or a business partner or a client, doesn't matter. You never know. You never know. The next person you meet could be your huge referral partner, could be your best friend, could be your next love of your life. You never know. So just having a open heart and a learner's heart, so being open to learning new opinions, new ways of doing things was huge for me, especially because I grew up in a family that, they were pretty black and white. Like these are the people that we hang out with. I'm like, no, no, the janitor down the street is hilarious, right? Or the guy up in the C-suite is, he's really good at mountain climbing. Like everyone has like a superpower or special something about them. That's probably what I would pick.
The optimism and curiosity and playfulness that you approach life with. And I know we were talking the other day about you're kind of moving into, your third act. You've built this successful business and, and you've talked about kind of coaching a little bit. And so what's next for you? What are your new kind of your dreams, aspirations, visions for your next 10, 20, 30 years?
Well, from a professional standpoint, probably doing some more things with AI and just solving problems that our clients might face. Not necessarily problems, but finding solutions that would help them, with their business. On a personal note, you and I have talked last week about doing videos that don't have to be monetized, that just share my thoughts in my third act, and I guess my goal is to build an online community or tribe of people that either get inspired by my stories or that I can help or that inspire me that I can have a conversation with because there's just so many people I can meet in my geographical area, but there's the whole world out there. So I think it'll be kind of fun to just start the conversation online. Who knows if it'll take off or people will listen. You never know, but stories, that's what makes the world run. So hopefully I can help someone, even if it's one person, get through some of the trials and tribulations that I've been through and laugh at it, you know, and maybe they have some great ideas for me because I don't have all the answers. I'm in my third act. I've raised my kids. I have my businesses all, set up. What's next, So maybe someone in my tribe on TikTok or YouTube will have a brilliant idea for me that I never considered. So yeah, that's my next project.
I love that. So excited. And I'm always cheering for you. It's always a
Thank you.
pleasure chatting with you. Thank you so much for being here today. If people want to connect with you, schedule a consultation call, learn more about you, where can they do that?
They can go to fingerprintmarketing.com and I'll do a chat with them for 30 minutes. And they can find me on LinkedIn as well, Pia Larson. And I mean, I'm on all the socials, but, probably if they wanted, talk about business, going to fingerprintmarketing.com.
Amazing. Pia, thank you so much. It was a pleasure chatting
You're
with you.
welcome. Thank you.